you all. I was able to speak with 1 Million Cups and I've been able to come and listen virtually for a while now. So I'm excited to share more about my pivot, which, as you know, last time I was here, I spoke specifically about iDream, which was an online platform to help high school and college students pursue health careers. And this pivot of Black Med Connect is a little bit of a different demographic and age group. So I'm excited to share with you all and ready to get started. So Black Med Connect is an exclusive social network for Black physicians and medical trainees, and I'd love to share more about that. So just a little bit about myself. I'm a pediatrician. I work at UNC School of Medicine. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Pediatrics. I've always had a passion for mentorship and how do we think about equitable access to care for Black and Brown communities who often suffer from a wide variety of health disparities in different conditions. I went to Florida A&M University, a historically Black college. I went to Duke for med school, which is weird now because I'm at UNC. I was a pediatric chief resident at Emory, and I did my research fellowship at Yale in the National Clinician Scholar Program. So my focus clinically is primary care, and my research focus is workforce representation. And that all culminates into my entrepreneurial interests and why I'm choosing to pursue Black Med Connect. So my ask for today, I would love to hear your thoughts on my pricing structure and go-to-market strategy. And of course, always as you think about pivoting and thinking about funding opportunities to build out Black Med Connect, those are the types of things I'd hope to address today. So our mission for Black Med Connect is to create an exclusive social network for Black physicians and medical trainees that fosters community and professional development. Think of this as the LinkedIn for Black physicians and medical students and residents, which I'll refer to as trainees. And if you're familiar with Doximity, Doximity is a platform for all physicians that recently IPO'd in the past year. So you could think of this as the Doximity for Black physicians and trainees as well. So I'd like to take a moment to think about a student. Her name, we'll call her Jennifer. And I talk to students like this all the time, just as a disclaimer. Jennifer is a second-year medical student at a medical school where she is one of 160. So think about that. Out of all of the students, she's one of 160 in her class. And out of the whole school, there's only 4 African-American medical students. That's just one microcosm of some of the isolation that students feel and describe to me very, very vividly, and I too remember. So oftentimes Black medical students, residents, and even current physicians feel very isolated and as if they're operating in silos. So for Jennifer, what made her story even more taxing for me was she was on a campus of her med school by herself. So it's not only that she was one in her class, she was the only one on that campus. And oftentimes this leads to a lack of meaningful professional and social connections and a lack of guidance and mentorship. When things happen, which things happen, microaggressions happen, racism frankly happens, there's this feeling of discomfort and uneasiness with reporting and using the institutional resources that are available because of the fear of retaliation. And this is not just when racism occurs. This is also when trying to determine what field you're going to enter into, feeling as if, oh, sorry, say that again. Oh, feeling as if, okay, feeling as if certain disciplines are not for you. I hear this over and over and over again from medical students, from those who've gone on to graduate medical school and now are residents across different disciplines, and for people like myself as well as early career faculty in academic medicine and in private practice. So there's no trusted platform for culturally sensitive connection. On the flip side of this, institutions have problems too, right? There's a difficulty with recruitment and retention of Black trainees. It's hard to find when you have such a small pool of applicants and they're all applying across 100 different institutions or more. It is really tough, even if you want to recruit, to actually get individuals to come to your institution when you don't have the support and you don't have the visibility that makes them feel safe. So there's challenges with meeting some of the DEI accreditation standards that the accrediting bodies, such as the Liaison Committee of Medical Education, they have these metrics that they need to meet, and they're very, very much so having difficulty meeting them. So this is where Black Med Connect comes in. This is a platform that will be a safe space, a culturally sensitive space that can help eliminate that feeling of isolation, no matter where you are. And this will be not only a social platform, but it'll also be a professional platform to connect trainees, institutions, and ultimately employers for professional development, mentorship, and employment opportunities eventually. So this is going to be a mobile app that going to kind of roll out in 3 phases. Step 1 is for medical students and residents, fellows and attendings, and it'll be mostly for the social aspect of it, to create that exclusive network. You know, all of the simple things that you expect of a social media platform at this point, groups, news feeds, but with the caveat that things can be posted anonymously when people don't feel comfortable posting something as themselves. Next, we'll move from the social aspect where we're building that community also to the professional development aspect. One thing that students often face and trainees often face, again, is that lack of mentorship. Only 5% of all physicians in the United States are African American. So when you think about one student on one campus trying to figure out how to become a neurosurgeon or a radiologist, they may be able to ask someone, but they may be dismissed, which is also something that I hear of a lot. You know, I told this person I'm interested, but they were like, oh, that's not for you. And so, again, trying to build in the professional development tool and aspect, similar to how LinkedIn has a professional aspect to LinkedIn Learning or Lynda. That's the phase 2 of what we hope to deploy. Step 3 will be looking at how to connect trainees and early career faculty members to hospitals and practices. So it will be a marketing solution for them. So academic centers are all looking to recruit trainees, the best and the brightest, to their institutions, and this platform can serve as a forum for them to have those direct connections. Okay. So just to kind of give you a brief understanding, we chose to start here because of the low market penetration with the ability and ease at which to have students and trainees and attendings join, and not needing a huge sales force to go out there right away and say, we're going to start selling this solution to hospital systems and practices. So the business model is very simple. It will be a paid subscription model for physicians in training, as well as for practicing physicians who have already completed residency or fellowship. And then lastly, marketing solution for institutions and employers. So just a kind of quick caveat, my pricing model stems from thinking about what can students and residents pretty much handle, honestly, on a monthly basis. And so it's a very easy $10 a month for med students to join, 15 for residents, 20 for attendings to join. And when you look at the market, that kind of has a smaller market, but when you think about the need and trying to make sure that the offerings you have are priced so that students can join and feel comfortable, that's where the price points have kind of come in so far. And when you talk about the B2B subscription model, I'm take a little bit of time to explain this slide. So there are 192 medical schools in the United States. So for MD granting medical schools, there are also DO granting medical schools as well. On average, medical schools pay $5,000 to $7,000 to have a recruitment table for 3 to 5 days at a professional meeting. So our annual subscription kind of falls along that price point for what a medical school typically pays to do a recruitment event. When you look at graduate medical education programs, that's when you've graduated medical school and now you may be a pediatric resident, or maybe you've already done your pediatric residency, but now you want to go on to become a cardiologist in pediatrics. That would be a fellowship program. So when you think of these institutions, each institution has an office that comprises all of those residency programs and all of those fellowship programs. And so that is why the price point for a graduate medical education program to subscribe to our platform annually is $10,000. And then as we move along, hospitals already pay recruitment. They pay a lot for recruitment. So the price point of $10,000 for hospitals and for practicing practices who need to advertise, those are very minimal compared to the cost at which they typically already recruit through staffing agencies and et cetera, et cetera. So just a little bit about who our competitors are. So of course, students, residents, attendings go to Reddit to ask questions for free. There is a platform called Student Doctor Network where you can also ask questions for free, and it breaks down by trainee. Doximity, as I mentioned, is a platform that is very successful. They have a lot of different healthcare solutions along with their platform, but really services everyone and doesn't have a focus on cultural sensitivity at all. So they do have forums for questions, social connections, and employment opportunities, which is how they make the bulk of their revenue. But then when it comes to the culturally sensitive connections that people can make, a safe space to help mitigate some of the discrimination that students and trainees face, that's where Black Med Connect would shine. So quickly, the go-to-market strategy here, we kind of talked through the levels already. Phase 1 is for students, residents, fellows, and attendings. Phase 2 will be employers. But thinking ahead, in a future way, if this model can work for physicians, Black and brown physicians, then it also can work for dentists, pharmacists, PAs, et cetera. I've had pharmacists already ask me if they could just pay to be on our platform. So it's really been interesting to try to contain it first to get a good model and then eventually expand. So for marketing, we're starting a podcast as a way to just share inspiring stories of Black physicians and physicians in training. We'll be launching that in March. And with our beta test starting in February and March for the app itself, and then moving into the late spring, early summer to launch the app, and have a lot of word of mouth spread, hopefully, word of mouth spread, which this is where I'm supposed to be, having kind of the launch for the podcast and then the app launch in May, June, and July kind of moving forward. So I'll pause there and say our podcast is coming in March. And thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to questions.
Thank you, Jess.